all guests that might join us on the virtual platform this morning. It is Tuesday, the 17th of March, 2026, and our business as the Standing Committee for Social Development today is to deliberate on Vote 7, Social Development, in the schedule to the Western Cape Appropriation Bill. Honourable members, also note that we as a committee will then also consider and adopt our committee report on Vote 7, Social Development, in the schedule to the Western Cape Appropriation Bill, B1, 2026. Honourable members, there are a bit of an echo. It's definitely not on my side. If you can perhaps just check your devices, please. There where you are perhaps more than one person in a room. Members, I'm not going to go through the entire list of rules in terms of online engagement. I'm sure that you are acutely aware. Can I please ask that we do maintain order to make sure that we do get through our business within the prescribed time? If you wish to draw my attention, please do raise your hand. In the absence of your function working, please do make use of the chat function. Honourable members, our meeting officially opened. I've welcomed everyone. I will now afford the opportunity for members to kindly introduce themselves for the record. My name is Wendy Kaiser-Philander and I'm the chairperson of the committee. Please proceed, members.
Good morning, colleagues. Abdul Rauf Raycliffe, Department of Social Development, Director, Restorative Services.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Raycliffe, thank you very much for attending. I am calling on members to kindly first introduce themselves, and then I will give over to Minister, to Dr. McDonald, and then to the SMT of the department. Honourable members, please proceed.
Good morning, Chair and everyone and Minister. I'm Donita Stevens. I'm a permanent member of this portfolio. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. I'm Thomas Walters. I'm a member of this committee.
Good morning, Chair and everyone on the platform. My name is Rachel Winvogel and I'm an alternative member.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Johnson and I'm a permanent member of the committee.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Chairperson. Aisha Kasim, member of this committee. Thank you.
Good morning, member. Thank you very much, honourable members. I will now hand over to Minister. Minister Lund.
Thank you, and good morning, Chairperson, members of the committee, and staff from DSD and anybody online. My name is Jacques Lund, and I'm the Western Cape Minister for Social Development. Thanks. Dr.
Good morning, Honourable Chairperson, Honourable Minister, Honourable members of the Standing Committee, as well as the colleagues from Social Development. I am Robert MacDonald, Head of Department for Social Development.
Thank you very much. Dr. McDonald, will you be introducing the team or are we going around?
I think I'll ask them to introduce themselves in alphabetical order, and then we can go from there. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, honourable members, Minister, HOD, and all members. I'm Zwandile Heu. I'm the Chief Director for Community and Partnership Development. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honourable members, HOD Minister, and all the honourable members. My name is Thembekile Kwakwini, Director of Children and Families. Thank you so much.
Good morning, members. Good morning, Chairperson. Juan Smith, I'm the CFO for the department.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honourable members, and good morning, colleagues. I'm Gavin Miller. I'm the Director for Research and Information Management.
Good morning, Honourable Chairperson, members and colleagues. I'm Tasneem Rakib, the Director Supply Chain Management.
Are there any other officials?
Good morning, Chairperson, honorable
Good morning.
members, my colleagues. I'm Patiswa Momoza, Director of Vulnerable Groups. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Honorable. Good morning, Honorable Chair, members, colleagues. I'm Denver Holly, the Director for Finance.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. I'm Monique Motlak-Malgas, MLO to Minister Lund.
Good morning, Honourable Chairperson, Honourable Members, Minister HOD and colleagues. Bernard Latchit, Head of Ministry in the Office of Minister Yakulund.
Good morning, Chair, Honourable Members. Leana Goosen, Chief Director, Social Welfare and Restorative Services.
Good morning, Honourable Chairperson and members, Minister HOD and colleagues. Siam Liftagrin, Director, Business Planning and Monitoring.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Honourable Members. I'm Ashanet Jonkerman, Director, Facility Management.
Good morning, Honourable Chairperson, members, and colleagues. I'm Petronel van Wyk, Acting Director in the Office of the HOD.
Thank you very much. Is that all officials, Dr. McDonald?
Yeah, I think that's everybody. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. And then I also saw member Comfer online. Member, are you able to connect?
Chair,
Yes,
if
member
I
Van
may.
Vogel. Yes,
Yeah, he
please.
sent a message. He's struggling with the sound, or if the IT can just get hold of him and assist, Chair.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Member Van Vogel. Ms. Jamke will alert ICT to kindly assist Member Comfer in order for him to connect to the meeting. Ms. Jamke, thank you. Good morning to you as well. Thank you for your capable support. Are there any apologies?
Morning, Chair, morning, members. No apologies. All members are in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, full house. Honourable members, let's proceed with our business. As mentioned, honourable members, today we will consider the 2026-27 main budget for Vote 7 social development, and we are delighted, I'm sure you as well, for a 4.98% increase from the revised 25-26 budget. Honourable members would also have noted in terms of the key allocations to this budget. Honourable members, I think we should also just determine our way forward as to how we will deal with the deliberations. I propose that we do it in two sections, two parts, from page 299 to page 325. Page 299 to page 325, and then we deal with the annexures, pages 326 to 338. If members do have any questions that they wish to pose on the annexures. So members, just as an ease of reference to the department, so that nothing gets lost in the process, if you can perhaps just please refer to your page number when you do pose your question. Honourable members, at this stage, I will now hand over to Minister Lund to give us a brief overview of the budget, and after which, Dr. McDonald, if you have anything to add on, you are most welcome to do so as well. Over to you, Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. And I did say good morning to everybody. Just in advance, a bit of an apology. I'm sitting next to the N1. We're on the way to Maritzburg for the opening of a new CYCC. So if there's a truck that comes past, that's the noise that you do hear. I firstly want to say to the team, Chairperson, that I am incredibly proud of the work that this department has done. We are obviously much better in delivering services to our clients than we announcing ourselves in alphabetical order. But I mean, I am incredibly proud of what they do. The level of diligence, after hours reporting, and that.
Apologies, Minister. Honourable members, can you please mute yourselves? Ms. Jamke, can you please assist?
Only screen.
Thank you. Apologies, Minister, please proceed.
And I think, Chairperson, that is reflected in what the provincial government and the Premier and the Finance Minister has entrusted, that we have gotten that increase. There's a saying that if you look after the little that's entrusted to you, you will get more. And this is also what happens now in the department. So to HOD McDonald, to all the chief directors, all the other.
Member Comfort, please mute yourself.
Chairperson, don't worry, we are pretty used to that from a member comfort, but it's taken in good spirit as well.
Member Comfort, can you hear me? Member Comfort? Ms. Jamke, can yourself or Ms. Burgess please make contact with Member Comfort? I think he might be online with ICT.
Yes, Chair.
yeah.
I'm busy with Siraj. He's helping him, but I don't know why
Okay.
the mic is on. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. Apologies, Minister. Please proceed.
No, thank you, Chair. And I mean, that's reflected in the additional funding that's allocated to us in various aspects. And members, members has seen in the proposed budget what it looks like, and this goes across the directorates. Every chief director has come forward, fought for their programs, fought for their staff, and that is also the healthy competition that allows us to keep and maintain the high standard. So from my side, I want to say thank you to everybody. We can delve into a bit of the details later on. But from my side also then to you, Chair, and to the committee for the diligent oversight you have on us, keeping us on our toes. It is sometimes we wonder the number of questions we have to answer, but that is the job of a democracy. So thank you also for keeping us on our toes and helping us to, in a very difficult environment, ensure that we deliver high quality services in a very financially constrained environment, and also with staff that is often stretched, staff that's often under attack. They still get up and do what is needed to service the most vulnerable in the province. So that's from my side, Chairperson. I'll then hand over to Dr. McDonald. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Over to Dr. McDonald.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. And yeah, I think also to say thank you to the MEC for championing the department so vigorously for the last year. I think, you know, that may well play a part in us being able to secure some additional resources, and you know, the visibility of the department's activities has increased, and it does help us lobby. So I think if one looks at the budget, we have seen a particularly positive increase for child protection, which was really needed. We still need to look further, but we're making progress in the right direction. And then also we were able to secure at least an inflation-related increase for the MPOs across the board that we are currently funding in transfer funding. So that was a very positive development for us in the budget as well. I think if one looks at the net increase in the budget, there still is also provision for the last year of the 3-year wage agreement for the public service, which we have to accommodate within the budget. So that does also represent a significant proportion of the total percentage increase on our baseline. And one has to factor that into the picture when looking at our overall increase. So we are mandated to accommodate that increase in our baseline to the wages of the public servants in the department. But I'm pleased that we didn't see that crowd out transfers to the NPOs, because our service delivery model is very much split between what we render to the public with our own staff and resources and the funded NPOs. So we had to try and strike a balance between the services we render and those that we leverage through our subsidies to the NPOs. And I think the finance team has done a good job with doing that. I also would like to express my appreciation to the Provincial Treasury. They've really gone out of their way to understand the specific challenges within the department and the needs, indeed for all departments. And they've been doing some site visits and things to get a really good sense of, what is happening in DSD, and it has actually paid off, I think, also in terms of their insight and their willingness to meet us when it comes to finding funding for the department. So we really appreciate the finance MEC and head of Treasury and department for their role in supporting us with this budget. And then also thank you very much to our finance team for all their hard work in trying to balance everything in the budget. It's been a very tricky one because we only kind of at the last minute got confirmation from the National Treasury on the allocations for the provinces. All of the departments were obviously affected by that, but it meant that we were in a uncertain space right up until the last part of the financial year before we could be sure what our allocation was going to look like. And the finance team as well as Treasury did a very rapid work in ensuring that we are still able to table the budget on time with the shortened time frame. So thank you to the finance team and to all of the chief directors and planners who helped us also do that. So I think with that said, the detail is in the document, so I'm not going to delve into all the specifics. I think that will come out in the progress of the meeting. So thank you very much, Chair, to you and the members for also championing our cause, and we hope that we will be able to answer your questions satisfactorily today.
Thank you very much, Dr. McDonald. Honourable members, are there any questions of on the overview provided by the Minister and Dr. McDonald? I do not see any hands on my side, honourable members. Then we will proceed. Honourable members, I will now formally table the budget for vote 7, social development, page 299 to page 325. By raising your hands, members, please indicate if you do have any questions. I recognize the Honourable Member Kasim. Please proceed, member.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you for the presentation to the HOD and the Minister. My first question is on page 304 of the budget estimates under the heading Outlook for the current financial year 2026 to 2027. Yes, it is on page 304. There's mention under paragraph 1 that to meet the growing demand for alternative care, bed space capacity will be increased through new facilities and infrastructure upgrades, and then you specifically mention Yakata CYCC. I would like to know what is the current backlog of minors and youth individuals who currently need placement in these child and youth care centers in the province? And then what is the status of the gender-based violence centers in the province? How many gender-based violence or tutuzela centers does the province have, which are administered by the department in each region in this province? And then with that, what is the current backlog of bed spaces in these centers as well? And how does the budget speak to addressing such challenges, if any? And then lastly, on the new outlook for the current financial year, the feeling I get here is that it does not speak much about homeless people and the provision of shelters in the province. So I would like to know, take this Oh, the sounds, I'm not sure what happened to the sound. Chairperson, can you hear me?
You can
There we
repeat
go.
your question, please,
No
Member
problem.
Kassim.
Okay, the signal just, okay, there we go. Also, the last question speaker was regards to the homeless and specifically shelters in the province. Can I please be taken to parts where the vote adequately addresses the matter with regards to the number of bed spaces and shelters which will be made available for homeless people in the entire province? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Member Kassim. I recognize Member Stevens.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is on 301. My first question. The department outlines allocations to support vulnerable communities and partnership with NGOs. How will the department ensure that NGO-funded programs deliver measurable outcomes and give that funding to these organizations results in improved social services and accountability across communities in the Western Cape? And then on 305, reference is made to programs addressing poverty, substance abuse, and community development services. What specific interventions and performance indicators is the department put in place to reduce substance abuse and strengthen early intervention services, particularly in high-risk communities? As we had our education yesterday, and it came out that substance abuse is very bad and serious, especially in the schools in all areas. And on page 310, the budget highlights services aimed at supporting victims of violence and vulnerable groups, including women and children. Given the increasing demand for victim support services, how will the department expand shelters, services, and prevention programs within the current budget allocation? And lastly, on page 315, the department refers to services for older persons and persons with disabilities. How will the department ensure that facilities and community-based programs for older persons and persons with disabilities are adequately funded and monitored to prevent neglect and ensure quality care? Thank you for now, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Stevens. Honorable members, is it in order with you? Then we deal with the first two questions. The last members had quite a loaded few questions, and then the second round we will deal, or rather give the opportunity to the Honorable Member Van Vogel and Member Kamfer. I will then now hand over to the HOD.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. The question from Honourable Member Kassim regarding the Siakatala expansion and the question about the current backlog or of children needing to be placed. I take it the question specifically would refer to children needing to be placed into secure care child and youth care centres, because that paragraph relates to secure care, child and youth care centres for children with behavioural challenges and also children who are in conflict with the law. The department can provide that information in writing, because the latest figures will be in a report, unless one of my colleagues like Ms. Goosen or Ms. Jonkerman do have the latest figures with them, but they may have figures from last month that need to be updated still. So I will just check with them whether they do have the latest figures, or otherwise we can provide that in writing in terms of the waiting list for children to be placed in secure care. Ms. Goosen or Ms. Jonkerman, do you have the latest figures?
Yes, actually, I have a bit of a connection problem. We are driving to Maritzburg. Our waiting list for secure care is around 1,000 children, and therefore the expansion at Siakatala is of utmost importance.
Thank you very much, Ms. Goosen. So we could provide more specific figures if needed, but that is the estimated number at this point in time. The question on Tutuzela care centres and GBV centres and the numbers that we fund Tutuzela care centres in most of the districts or what we call regions, as well as I think we have around 25 GBV shelters, unless that's been updated, Ms. Goosen.
We have 10 TCC centers and 25 GBV shelters. If I can also, before I lose connection, answer in terms of the expansions. We are expanding in the coming financial year TCC center in Vredenburg in the West Coast, and at least 2 new shelters, of which one will be in the George environment, and the other one would be along the West Coast.
Thanks, Ms. Goosen. Is there a current backlog or a waiting list for placement in the shelters, as asked by the member?
No, none. We actually have vacancies.
Okay, no, thanks. Thank you very much for that, Ms. Goosen. I think with the GBV shelters, Honourable Chair, the issue is not so much total number of bed spaces, but rather geographic availability. So there's some areas where we still need to have shelters because we don't have any, and it's a long distance to the nearest shelter. So we are at this point seized with trying to ensure a good spread of shelters in all the different regions of the province. It's been a work in progress, but we have rapidly expanded the number of shelters in the last 10 years, and we're getting to the point now where we have a good spread of shelters available in most parts of the province. But as Ms. Goosen mentioned, we still have some areas that need additional shelter capacity. So that is one of the things we're doing. And then the 2 Dizela care centres, which are opened in partnership with the National Prosecuting Authority. Also, the idea is to ensure we have those available in all parts of the province. And as Ms. Goosen's mentioned, there's an intention to get one going in the West Coast, particularly Matsakama side. Then the other question from Honourable Member Kausim was regarding homeless shelters. The question about to what extent we are making provision for those in the budget. If there is actually specific allocation in the budget under the families program, in transfers under families, that's being made for additional bed spaces in the family shelter in Somerset West, as well as additional bed spaces in the newly expanded Haven shelters that the City of Cape Town has been funding the capital works for. So there will be approximately 130 to 150 additional bed spaces provided for in the expanded Haven shelters, and then also additional bed spaces in the family shelter. If the honourable member would like more detail on that, we can provide more detail in writing, but I think that is the high level picture. You won't see it in the budget document per se, but you will see there is an increase in funding to the families program, and that funding is actually prioritized for the expansion of bed spaces in homeless shelters. So there is provision in the budget for that purpose. The question from Honourable Member Stevens about ensuring that the NPOs deliver and are accountable for the funds that are transferred to them by the department. Also links to the question around the quality assurance around older persons and disabilities programs. The 2 questions are linked because both speak to the processes that the department has in place for the monitoring and evaluation of funded NPOs. We have program officers for each of the sectors that do this monitoring and evaluation work. We have also introduced during the course of the current financial year, and which will continue into the new financial year, the additional unannounced visits, which will be done as short, very quick spot checks on a more regular basis for the NPOs, so that we cover all funded NPOs each year with at least one a monitoring visit, whether it's a short, a rapid assessment, or whether it is a more in-depth assessment. We do have a comprehensive monitoring and evaluation plan and schedule that guides the department's systematic assessment of all NPOs that we fund. And then also each area of service has norms and standards that we use to check the quality of the services against required standards. So for older persons and disabled program facilities, we use the Older Persons Act and the norms and standards related to that to do quality assurance of the old age homes, and we make sure that where there are problems in the homes that we put in place improvement plans, and if those things are not addressed, then we start the process of withdrawing funding and finding alternative placements for the older persons as a last resort. But we try to avoid that as far as possible. But where organizations don't provide quality services, then we do eventually have to either find an alternative organization to render those services, or move people to a different facility. So in terms of MPO monitoring, we have a system in place, and then we also have the performance information that is gathered from the NPOs that the Auditor General also audits, including with site visits to NPOs to check on the integrity of the information that they are submitting, to report on what they've done with the funds that they've been allocated. And combined with the monitoring work we do, it gives assurance in terms of finance, as well as governance and also service standards. So it's a combined system that we use to ensure that the NPOs are held accountable for the funds that they use. There are some NPOs that are on our watch list for being at risk because of various issues. Particularly, we are seeing challenges with boards at the moment, and some of the older persons' homes in particular are affected by issues with conflict within the boards. And those, in those cases, sometimes we even need to appoint an administrator to take control of the funding and make sure that the organization continues to deliver proper services. Those are in the more extreme cases, but we have had to do that with some of the organizations during the course of the year, and it's likely we will have to do that going forward as well. Considering we fund over 1,000 NPOs, it is likely that there's going to be issues at some of them at any given time. The question around the prevention and early intervention for substance abuse that was posed by Honourable Member Stevens. There are indicators within the annual performance plan that speak to the reach of our early intervention prevention services, as well as the treatment and reintegration services. Those are performance indicators that we report against. And the substance abuse programs are also evaluated in terms of impacts on a periodical basis. We have worked with the Medical Research Council and others to do assessment of different programs to see their efficacy, and look at things like recidivism rates from the programs to see what success rate they are achieving when it comes to rehabilitation. And we've also, the Honourable Member did mention also schools having issues with substance use disorders, and there's a range of things we are doing in that space, including school-based drug treatment programs, as well as school-based early intervention. And we are also tightening our working relationship with the Department of Education through the rollout of the social work integrated management system to the social workers who are supporting schools from the education department, so that we ensure improved referrals and case management of school-based cases where children are identified as being at risk. So in total, there's a number of initiatives underway. I think in terms of reach, we we have a reasonable spread of services, but we would like to have more resources to do this. But of course, we have to work with what we have at the moment. But we are able to service most areas that need it in the province. I think also the question about victims of violence has been already responded to, so I won't go to that one again. And then the last question from Honourable Member Stevens about older persons and disabilities was also part of my response on the NPO monitoring. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. McDonald. Honourable members, we also have an opportunity where you might want more detailed information, as mentioned, to ask for that information during our recommendations and the resolutions part of this meeting. At this stage, Honourable Kasim and Honourable Stevens, are there any follow-up questions on the responses provided by the department?
I'm sorted, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Stevens. Member Kasim.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm sorted as well. If possible, if we could get that specifics of the response that the HOD gave, if we can get that before the House sitting, please, specifically as to the bed spaces and those on the waiting list. I heard that there's about 1,000 on the waiting list. I just wanted to check, is that only in Cape Town or is it split across the entire province? Thank you.
Thank you, Member Kasim. HOD, are you in a position to answer that question?
Yes, Chair, it's for the province
For the
as a whole.
province. Thank you very much. Honourable members, we now move to the second round of questions. I recognize the Honourable Van Vogel.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just for clarity, we are dealing with from page 299 up until, I missed that part.
325, member.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will get the second round if I ask the first four
sure.
and then the second. Oh, thank you so much, Chair. Chair, my first question is on page 300. Point of reference, the Western Cape is the third largest province in South Africa. And they are speaking about estimated a population of 7.6 million people, which is projected to grow to 8.3 million by 2030. Now, of the 7.6 million people, what is the percentage of foreign nationals that are adding a strain on the budget and services of the department? Then secondly, on that, in respect of the socio-economic challenges, including unemployment, rising cost of living, and effects of COVID-19, how is the department responding to these challenges? And can you provide more details on the effect of COVID-19 that you are referred to? Then also on page 300, Chair, food insecurity. That's the point of reference. I'm not going into it. It's also on page 300. If 1 in 5 households.
Apologies, Member Van Vogel. Honourable members and officials, please make sure that you remain muted. Thank you. Please proceed, Member Van Vogel.
Thank you, Chair. If 1 in 5 households in the province reports inadequate access to food, then that shows the depth of the crisis we are faced with. Can the department tell us what is the total number of households that are reporting inadequate access to food, and how the department, and especially through this budget, is responding to the crisis of food insecurity? Is the 20,000 individuals that access meals through community nutrition programs enough? Is it suitable and how many, is it sustainable, sorry, and how many of those 22,000 were in non-metro municipalities. Then, Chair, on also page 300, the second paragraph. Chair, on October the 3rd, the ANC received a written reply from the MEC Lond about the number of children currently living on the streets. And the MEC's reply was, there are currently no official stats for the number of children living on the streets in the Western Cape. I have a lean interest to understand who is responsible to gather such data. If the department that is supposed to be the custodian of the programs to support these children simply says, we do not know. Is this department, is our department serious about the homeless people or children? Or are they simply, or doesn't they care? Lastly, Chair, how much of the department's budget will they spend on interventions to support homeless people? Then the last one, let me also touch, because it's also on page 300, teenage pregnancy. What is the latest update on these child pregnancies, and especially for 2025? And did the department and his sisters' departments conduct a thorough research to understand who are the fathers of children birthed by 10-year-old girls in the province? Because there could be 293 rapists walking free in the streets. Lastly, what is the prevalence of HIV in younger age groups? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Winvogel. Over to you, Honourable Member Kamfer.
Thank you, Chair. Morning, colleagues.
Good morning.
I not introduce myself because I was struggle with the internet. My name is Member Kamfer. I'm part of the Social Development Committee. Chair, not to make a lot of time. Chair, my question is of page 299. That is our main focus, our main priority of this department. I see in the presentation, Chair, in our district, our main focus there is only 60 of these municipalities. They have the drug dealer program committees. What I will check, Chair, what is the plan for the other municipalities that it must part of this committees? That is the first one. And what is the timeline, Chair, that these municipalities can fully operation to must be part of this committees? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member Kamfer. Over to you, HOD.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. The question about the percentage of foreign nationals in the Western Cape, I think the question would be also how many maybe are legally here versus how many are not legally here. So I think that's there's a difference, but I mean there's probably around the estimates are around 400,000 foreign nationals living in the Western Cape, but many of them are here legally or have immigrated here. So it's not the same as saying that they are undocumented, but there isn't any solid data on how many undocumented foreign nationals there are in the Western Cape at this time. I think there's some estimates, but it's I think the government is not doesn't have exactly the correct figures. They're saying that there's an estimate of about 10 to 15% of the 400,000 in the Western Cape, but these figures are estimates. it's not fixed. And as I say, a lot of the foreign nationals in the Western Cape are here legally. It's to say it's a drain on resources maybe isn't quite the right word. But obviously the influx of people into the Western Cape does have an impact on the needs for government services. And the rapid growth in population is something that we have to adapt to. And it's a bit of a concern to us because our budgets so far have been battling just to keep up with inflation, let alone make provision for the actual increase in population. And of course, if you look at South Africa, our population growth is faster than inflation, or rather faster than the GDP growth. So we are seeing that impact on the tax revenue, and that then affects our budgets. So that is an area of concern that we need to be very acutely mindful of, because with population growth outstripping the growth of budgets, it means that our services are being stretched thinner and thinner. So it's a real issue for us. Yes, there is a percentage of that is foreign nationals, and the undocumented foreign nationals in particular are very tricky for DSD to deal with, because if they don't have paperwork, it makes it very hard to arrange things like school placements for the children, for example, and also things like arranging permanency planning for children who are need to be placed into the alternative care system. So certainly it is a difficult matter, but we are seeing that together with the general population growth pressure. And we also are reaching a point now. Previously, population growth was driven more by the births within the province, but it's starting to be overtaken by people coming into the province mostly from other provinces. So that is starting to become the primary driver of population growth in the Western Cape. And yeah, that is quite challenging for infrastructure especially, but also for DSD, where our services are being stretched. The second question from Honourable Member Windvogel, I didn't completely understand or hear it. It was related to post-COVID. I wonder if I could just hear that question again.
Sure, HOD. Member Windvogel, do you mind repeating that question? The one where you refer to
yes, Chair.
post-COVID?
The post-COVID. My second question was about food insecurity.
One of your questions you made mention of.
Perhaps the HOD must just answer that.
Answer those that you have, and then we'll come back to that one.
Then I can just
Gather your thoughts. Okay, sure.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Member. HOD.
Thank you, Chair. Apologies for that. The sound was a bit on and off in that one. But the was also about food insecurity on page 300. The question was the total number of households that are reporting inadequate access to food. I don't know if Mr. Miller is able to provide that information now based on the household survey.
Hello, Chair and Dr. McDonald. We are busy preparing a report which we will hopefully have ready by Friday, which is also for question from Parliament for the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, and we will share that with this committee as well, which we give a detailed breakdown. Obviously, the General Household Survey is just a survey, so it's a very high-level look at hunger and food insecurity in the province. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. So I think we'll then be able to provide the breakdown based on the Stats SA household survey, because that is the That is the data on which that information in the annual report refers to. And also there's different levels of inadequate food access. So it'll be useful for the committee to see the breakdown, because there is there's not just one level of inadequate food access. It's broken down into different levels of severity, so that it's easier to see where the most extreme cases are. Also, the question of where where the food provision is in the province, and the question about whether it's adequate. I think for social development, we are providing food relief in areas where there is a great need for food relief because of poverty and also a shortage of alternative sources of food. So DSD is one player in the bigger picture on food security. So the question regarding whether the individuals accessing meals funded by DSD, whether that is enough, whether it's sustainable, and whether what the number is in the non-metro. We can give a breakdown of the metro versus non-metro. I'll have to ask my colleagues to prepare that response, but it is actually quite a lot of it is in the rural areas. And the reason for that is because we're targeting areas where people aren't easily able to access other sources of food, like school feeding schemes and so on. So I think one must bear in mind that social development support for people who are food insecure is only one part of the picture. The Department of Health has also launched the Kolisa Care program, which is focusing on food security, particularly for small children, which is going to be a very wide-ranging project. And then we also have the school feeding schemes running as well. And then there is also food provision at after schools and ECDs and other areas. So we are reaching, as a provincial government, we are reaching around 500,000 people in the province daily with food relief. So social development is only one stakeholder in an integrated transversal approach to food security. The question from Honourable Member Windvogel regarding children living on the streets. I think the previous response on the matter was that we don't keep a separate database of children on the streets from other children in need of care and protection. Where there are areas that have specific challenges with children on the street, we do develop databases to profile those children so that we can work with the children and, if necessary, also take them into alternative care. And many of them do go into facility-based care. But then also those children's cases are then captured on the SWIM system. So we don't keep a separate database for children on the streets, but rather we the children that enter our system are put into the SWIM system along with all other children at risk. But where we have local areas where there's a need for an intervention because of large numbers of children, then we do create databases for that. But to have an overall database of children on the street across the whole province, it's not possible to create a credible and current database of all children on the streets, because that changes all the time. We have children that come sometimes during the holidays. They are coming in during the day to look for opportunities in the streets, sometimes with their parents, sometimes without their parents, sometimes with adult older siblings. There are children who are also spending time on the streets with other children in gangs, and we have to deal with them as a group. And then they sometimes are taken into secure care. So there are so many different types of children on the street, and they're constantly moving some are in and out of the system, some are going back home and then coming in. So it's not really possible to create a proper database of all children on the streets, because it would just be out of date and incorrect within a few weeks. I think it's a similar problem with homeless adults as well. The homeless adults, a lot of them don't have documentation. They won't give out their names and details, and they are not obliged to. And the homeless adults also moving around all the time, going from one shelter to another shelter, and also to different parts of the province. So that's why there isn't any comprehensive database of adults living on the street. And actually that there's only estimates, and those estimates vary very widely between different organizations that are keeping those estimates. So it's not a database as such. But I think with children, when we identify children on the street and we open a case for them, then they are placed on our SWIMS system. So we do have those children on our database, but we don't keep a separate database for street children specifically. The question about the DSD budget for the homeless shelters. I think the funding for homeless shelters is kept within the families program, and there is currently 35 funded shelters for homeless adults with a total budget of just under 37 million. It's 36.8 million. And that is for bed spaces in homeless shelters. The question around teenage pregnancy and the research on the profile of the fathers in teenage pregnancy, that data is with the Department of Health, which registers the births and keeps data on the parents. So DSD is not the custodian of that, and the research is conducted by the Department of Health. Social development is called in to assist where teenage pregnancies occur that are identified as potential rape or other forms of abuse or neglect of the child. And then social development is then part of that process of assisting the child. And we also have programs to support the teenagers who are pregnant to reduce the risk to them and to their child when they give birth. So those programs are things that DSD runs, but the overall monitoring and data on teenage pregnancy resides with the Department of Health. So questions on that should be directed to health so that they can provide the latest proper detail. I think the same also applies to the prevalence of HIV. That data does reside with the Department of Health, so the latest statistics should then be sought from the Department of Health, so that we wouldn't want to give something that's out of date or differs from their data, because we rely on them for that data. The last question around local drug action committees from Honourable Member Comfort. We are in the process of engaging those municipalities that haven't yet established local drug action committees, and we are making headway with them. Some have indicated that they intend to open their local drug action committees during the course of this year. There is 15 local drug action committees established at the moment, but there are more that we expect to see established in this year. But it is up to the municipalities to establish those, and we do engage with the LDACs through the Western Cape Substance Abuse Forum. It's chaired by the Department of Social Development. And we have been providing support to the mayors and their delegated officials in setting up local drug action committees, but the authority to establish a local drug action committee vests with the mayor of a municipality in terms of the legislation. So in the end, we can assist and support, but it is up to the municipalities to decide whether or not they wish to go forward with it. Some of the municipalities have indicated they don't regard it as something that they can accommodate as an unfunded mandate. And we're not in a position to try and pressure them to do otherwise. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. McDonald. Honourable members that posed the questions, Member Van Vogel and Member Kamfer, are there any follow-up questions? Member Van
Yes, Chair.
Vogel?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I missed the teenage pregnancy part because I didn't hear anything on that. Then secondly, I think the HOD mentioned about my question on the children on the street. I'm not sure. Don't you think you need to look into it because the children on the street is a problem? It can't be right that we are saying we are pushing it to someone else because the states will not stay the same. No states will stay the same. Today, tomorrow, there will be another birth. Tomorrow, you will have someone into your swim system, and then the person is out. So the states will never stay the same. Each and every day is changing. So each and every state, it changes with days, with the month, with years, it changes. So it can't be an excuse not to really look into this matter.
Member
Remember,
Van
the
Vogel?
department is the custodian of assisting
Member Van
children.
Vogel?
Yes, Chair?
Yes, Member Van Vogel. I'm gonna afford Dr. McDonald the opportunity based on the question that you did not hear the answer to. I don't think we can, where there is more information required or where another department is responsible for that specific function. That is something that we need to take up with that department, and rather on that platform inquire what the collaboration is with this specific department. I don't think this is a question that Dr. McDonald can answer, but I will just ask, I think I heard a response in terms of the teenage pregnancies, but I'll just afford Dr. McDonald to just repeat that. Thank you, member. Dr. McDonald?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Yes, the teenage pregnancy, as I indicated, that data sits with the Department of Health. And we are called in to assist as social development when there's a need to assist if there's a suspected abuse of a child or rape that's led to the pregnancy. So the Department of Health would then arrange for us to assist with those cases. But the statistics and research on teenage pregnancy does reside with health. Because they register the births and they keep the records of all of the parents of the children. But DST does work with the children at risk when they are flagged and referred to us by health.
Thank you.
Sorry, Honourable Chair, I think
No, please proceed.
Just to reiterate on the street children question, we do keep the data on the street children where we open cases for them, which we do when we make contact with the street children. I think the only other way that one could try to create data on street children is by a rough estimate. But you know, that would require a lot of resources for very little benefit, because the estimates tend to be very inaccurate, and people will count children who are not necessarily street children. They're children who are, for example, coming into the city during holidays to perform, or who are with adults who are who are traveling with adults. There's a lot of misidentification of street children. So to accurately capture the children who are really street children, it's better for us to have those children on our system. So when we have reports of street children, then we enter that on our swim system. And we don't keep a separate system for street children. It's the same system for children who are abandoned, abused, and neglected. Because street children are generally children who've been abandoned or being abused or neglected. So they need to be in our system together with the other children. So yeah, I hope that clarifies.
Thank you very much, Dr. McDonald. Honorable members, I'm opening up round 3 for questions. I recognize the Honorable Member Boyson. Member Boyson, you may proceed. We are unfortunately not able to hear you, member. I see your mic is turned on, but there's no sound from your side. Honorable members, are there any other member? I will get back to Member Boyson. Remember, we are still referring to pages 299 to 325. Any other questions? I don't see any other further
Yes, Chair.
hands.
I
Please
try
proceed,
to
member.
figure out. Thank you, Chair. Chair, my question is on page 307. Sorry, 307, yeah. The last sentence, limited provision has been made to maintain the established over the MTF. Could the department please elaborate on what is meant by limited provision has been made to maintain the establishment over the MTF? Then secondly, Chair, on page 309, table 8.2, compensation of employees. I'm so happy to hear from the HOD and the minister that they are proud of the team, that they were really doing very good work. And hopefully their dedication and commitment will be rewarded with a salary increase soon, because we do really appreciate that. So I want to understand there, we note and we welcome the increase in the budget, but we cannot talk about it outside of the November 2025 budget adjustment. During the budget adjustment, we witnessed the brutality of this administration when over 20 million earmarked for government jobs, in this department was cut. Has this money been reallocated this year? And how is this budget responding to the COE budget cuts? Is there a provision made to increase allocation for creation of government jobs in the department? Chair, please don't interrupt me. I really want you to allow me to ask questions.
No, Member Van
And
Vogel.
allow the department to answer. I really feel
Member Van Vogel, it is my responsibility as the chairperson to maintain order of this meeting. So I was just going to call you to get to the context of the question so that we can also afford other members the opportunity as well. Please proceed, member.
Chair, I will then go to the last question on that page, but really allow me to ask my questions. Allow the department to answer. On page 224, we know that staff establishment will be increased by only 19 posts. Chair,
Member
I
Van
want to
Vogel, just repeat that page number again, please.
It's 324.
324.
Table 10,
Thank you.
10.1.
You may proceed, member.
Chair, I want to understand, we know that staff assessment will be increased by only 19 posts. I want to refer the department page 48 of its 2024-25 annual report, where I was said that at 29.5% of the approved establishments at the end of March 2025, department's vacancy rate has remained above the Department of Public Service and Administration's norm of 10%. So I will stop there. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Van Vogel. I recognize Honorable Member Boyson.
Good morning, Chairperson. Am I audible now, Chair?
Indeed, you are, member. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I'm on page 318 under the fourth heading from the bottom, where it deals with maintaining operations at the 26 GBV shelters for abused women. Now, my question, Chairperson, during SOPA, we visited an area called Rosemore in George. And in Rosemore, there was such a facility for abused women, and that has been closed down. Now, my question, Chairperson, is under what circumstances would DSD withdraw funding from an operational center? And to reignite such a center, what would be the process if the need still exists? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Boyson. HOD, over to you for responses. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. The question from Honourable Member Van Vogel on the establishment and the limited provision for the establishment, I think it's the same issue that we have been operating under for some time now, with the ceiling on compensation of employees. That is something we agreed to at the beginning of the financial year with the Provincial Treasury. So we have to basically work within a COE ceiling, because there is currently nationally and provincially quite a tight monitoring of COE expenditure. And there's been, particularly in the last year, a very strong push to contain the expansion of departmental establishments throughout the country. And I think that also goes to the question around the increased establishment by 19 posts, where we needed to increase the establishment to take over some social work roles from organizations that closed down. So we needed to create social worker posts so that we could take over child protection services in those areas. And that's an urgent matter that we needed to make provision for. Generally, there seems to be willingness to accommodate some additional posts, if they are OSD, particularly social work posts. But generally, there is a very tight control at the moment by the Department of Public Service and the National Treasury on the expansion of posts in departments. We may see this ease up as the total financial outlook for government improves. But at the moment, that is very tight. So I think that is something one has to bear in mind. For the time being, also Provincial Treasury's COE ceilings are applicable, and that means that there is limited funding allocated to COE, as a question from Honourable Member Van Vogel indicated. I think also one must bear in mind too that the department does have a larger establishment than posts funded. So when one looks at the vacancy rates at the moment in the department, there are a large number of posts that have been unfunded for approximately 15 to 16 years. For the foreseeable future, we don't see those posts being funded because there just isn't any money for that. And those are mostly community development practitioner posts in the regions that were initially added to the structure of the department as part of a modernization process that sought to create, in the case of social development, a degree of uniformity across the country, with all provincial departments of social development having a welfare services and a community development arm. And the creation of community development posts was a part of that process. So if you look across the country, social development departments in different provinces have created extensive community development practitioner vacancies, which they then proceeded to fill. In the Western Cape, we did fill some of those posts, but the more posts we created, then we could fill with our existing salary funding as projected in the MTIF. And also, in addition to that, more posts were created than we actually had infrastructure to accommodate in terms of office space. So for the foreseeable future, we don't believe we'll be able to fill those posts. We may have to abolish some of those posts because the Department of Public Service Administration is pushing for the abolishment of unfunded posts that have been unfunded for more than 5 years, I think it is. So that is something we're also having to look at. But yeah, in terms of our vacancy rate, where we look at our vacancy rate, we do look at the vacancy rate against funded posts, not against unfunded posts. And so that's where our concern is primarily at the moment, because we are sitting with a relatively high turnover of staff at the moment, which has been further aggravated by the early retirement and voluntary exit program that the DPSA has been running this year. There are 34 people leaving the department. I think it's 34 leaving the department at the end of March and April. Some have stayed on for 1 extra month. And then in November of this year, I think it is October, November, there's going to be another round of voluntary exits. And that is something we're a little bit concerned about because that is going to leave us with more vacancies. And the rate at which we are able to fill posts is a lot slower than we are seeing exits. I think the rate of exits also speaks to the second question from Honourable Member Bindvogel and the cut from COE during the adjustment budget. Now, the 20 million that was cut during the adjustment budget was due to the fact that we had not been able to fill posts as quickly as we had hoped to. And so there were a lot of vacant posts. And then also we had a lot of people who were appointed in posts who were promoted and were already in the department, which then created new vacancies, which created new savings as well. So again, we came in under our estimate for compensation, and that was why that 20 million approximately was shifted during the adjustment budget. But we were able to redirect that towards transfer funding for NPOs, which served a very good purpose because the NPO sector is enormously stressed at the moment with the reduction in donor funding as well as relatively stagnant government subsidies for a number of years now, and also together with the meltdown of the Lotto Commission, which funding a lot of NPOs used to receive and rely on, which has dried up over the past 10 years. So our ability then to reallocate that funding to the NPO sector was actually a windfall. And so although we did suffer with the vacancies, we were at least able to assist the NPO sector, which for us is incredibly important because if we lose NPOs and they close, we then have to step in and take over those services, which then becomes even more pressure on our staff. I think the question then from Honourable Member Boyson's the remaining question, and that is around the closure of the centre in George. I'll just check whether Mr. Ratcliffe or Ms. Goosen are able to just give a bit more detail about that closure, and then also speak to how we would then proceed to try and bring back those services where possible. So I see Mr. Ratcliffe is
Mr. Ratcliffe?
able to come in on that.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair and Dr. McDonald. The organisation that closed down, we had a lot of issues around administration, governance, service delivery. We have put in a tremendous capacity building program effort to support the organisation. We also put them under administration to ensure continuity of services as well as under mentorship. But unfortunately, despite those efforts, it proved to not be successful. So we couldn't continue the funding. So currently, people requiring services in that area earlier, makes use of the shelter in Mossel Bay by creative, effective families. But obviously, we would want to get one in George going again. There is a big need for that. And one of the ways forward is to find a credible NPO partner that is willing to take up that space that Member Boyson refers to. And there is currently an organization that we are currently funding as a social service organization that we are also going to approach to see if they can take on the shelter services in that area. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ratcliffe. HOD, does that conclude your responses? Anything
Yes, it
outstanding?
does. It does.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we then proceed to round 4. I recognize the Honorable Member Kamfer.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, mine start of page 301. 301, and that is according the GBV. I will check paragraph 2 is the last paragraph 2 on GBV. Let me check, Chair. I see GBV is declared is a national disaster. So let me check what does how does this budget respond to this declare, Chair? That is my first question. Then on page 302, victims, Chair. Let me check what is the plan to increase this budget to expand the service to more victims on page 302. And then my last one is on 303, is the oldest homes, Chair. If I listen to the finance of the Minister of Finance in his budget speech, she said there's 36 million for oldest buildings, for oldest houses, Chair. Now I see there's 12 million to oldest homes. What I will check, Chair, is there specific oldest rooms, houses where this 12,000 is it for specific old age homes, or where does it go? That is my third question on 303, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Kamfer. HOD, for response, please. Or referral for response. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Honourable Chair. So the GBV declaration is a national disaster. I think we normally, where there's a declaration of a national disaster, then there is national allocation of funding that follows the declaration. This was an unusual case in that the national disaster was declared, but no additional funding was allocated nationally for this. Our budget for GBV services, we have spoken about the additional TCC center, as well as the additional GBV shelters. And I think that also speaks to Honourable Member Comfort's second question, the plan to increase the service to more victims. We are, yes, planning to increase that service as previously indicated, and that was be 2 additional shelters, as well as the TCC center in the West Coast. So we are expanding services to some degree, but this also comes off the back of a very rapid expansion of these services over the past 10 years, and we are far ahead of the other provinces in terms of the reach of our services, as well as the quality of our services, and also in terms of our implementation of the GBV National Strategic Plan. We've got a dedicated lead in the department for the GBV NSP, and we are implementing that plan. The declaration of disaster calls for more urgency and more resources to be allocated into that space, and I think this is something we've already been doing. So if there is going to be an additional allocation of funding nationally to fund the declaration of disaster, then of course we would gladly accept that funding and further expand what we have. but we are dependent on additional funding if we want to go beyond what we already have made provision for, which is an expansion, but maybe not as much as we would want to if the declaration was met with funding. We don't know why there hasn't been a decision to allocate funding with the declaration of disaster, because that is something that is done with basically all other disasters, but that is not something or a decision that we are privy to. That is a national decision. The question regarding the older persons' homes and which specific homes the additional fundings would go to, I will ask Ms. Mimosa to just speak to what the intention is for that additional funding.
Ms. Mimosa.
Just seeing if, there we go.
My apology. Can you please come again?
Ms. Mimosa, if you can just give a indication of where the additional funding that is coming for older persons' homes in the new financial year, how is that going to be used? Is it going to be allocated to all old age homes, or do you have an indication of which areas, which specific old age homes or areas that's going to go to?
Thank you so much, HOT. The additional budget for old age homes that were received, mainly it's for organizations accommodating a category 1 residents. I would say independent, but were not previously funded. In the old age homes, we're currently funding residents that are frail, that is for frail care. But then, because of budgetary constraints, we could not accommodate or cater a budget for the ones that are in the residential facilities, but also independent. Yes, they still need the service. So the additional allocation is merely to accommodate, because being in a residential facility, there is personnel, there is food, there is also other costs to look after that resident who were previously not being catered for. So we are targeting all those unfunded residents in the residential facilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Mimosa. And is that going to be across the whole province, or is it in specific areas?
Across the province, HOD, what we did, we made contact with all residential that is funded residential facilities across the province, requesting them to give us the stats. Yes, we had the stats, but we wanted to be certain so that to get the latest updates as to how many residents that are fall under this category that we're not funding for. But when we requested that stats, we did not declare that it was solely to ensure that we fund, so that we can get the exact stats, the exact number. So we received that. We are working on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Mimosa. So the facilities that will be obtaining that additional funding will be across the province. It's not limited to any one area. It's going to be various amounts at different facilities across the whole province. But that information also will come through when we indicate our allocations to NPOs later in the year. I think also to say, in response to Honourable Member Comfort's second question about the reach of services to GBV clients, we are currently reaching over 20,000 clients in the province. And it's so we are also looking to make sure we've got a reach in areas where we don't currently have services, and that I think is particularly places like the Karoo, Matsakama, as we mentioned, and then also wherever else there is a need that we identify. So we are seeing that we have enough capacity in our shelters in the areas where they have been established to accommodate the people coming forward and needing assistance. We're not falling short in terms of services in those areas, but we want to reach and have better proximity to the victims in areas where we don't currently have services. And I think that's the emphasis. So yeah, thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. McDonald. I recognize Honourable Member Walters.
Chair, I think that there's a very interesting issue that came up that Member Comfer raised here. If a national disaster was declared, and a national disaster is something that should be formed, that comes with fast tracking of processes, that comes with resources, that comes with coordination. I believe that is something that should be taken up. If it's a national disaster that was declared without any resources in a performative manner, then it should be called out. And I would just suggest perhaps you should take that up under resolutions. But I just want to confirm my understanding of the answer there. So there was a national disaster declared without any consequential resources. I just wanted to confirm that I understood that correctly.
Thank you very much, Member Walters. That was my understanding as well, but the HOD can confirm or deny.
Chair, yes, no, that is correct, yes.
Thank you very much, HOD. Honourable members. Then on round 4, do we have any follow-up questions? Member Comfer?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, Chair, I must say, Chair, I am very happy with the last part that the HOD correct according to the distribute of this funding. I'm happy with his explanation to the all this homes in the whole province, because the reason why I mentioned that, Chair, we sit in particular in the rural areas, and I think the HOD mentioned that, and I think the rural areas is the part of our areas that more of the time that look like this areas is not part of the benefit of this type of funds. So thank you very much for this. And the second one, Chair, I fully agree with member Thomas Walters that is a national, but luckily for us, we are in a unity, so we must work together to ensure that this funding must come from the national unit part, UNU part, to ensure that we must have funding in this province, to ensure that Kraaifontein is one of our worries part. Chair, that is the reason why I mentioned that. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Member Comfer. Honourable members, we are still busy with deliberations on the main budget for vote 7, and we are now conforming to the 5th round. Are there any questions, members, on portions page 299 to 325? I do not see any hands. Honourable members, are there any questions? We will then now move to the second part, which is the annexures, pages 326 to 338. Are there any questions on that part of the blue book pertaining to vote 7? No questions. I'm quite sure that there will be a few resolutions emanating from our session this morning. Then, honourable members, that concludes then our questions and answer session. I will now afford the opportunity to the HOD and to Minister Lund to proceed with closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson, and to the Honourable members for your questions. We do appreciate the scrutiny and the accountability when it comes to the way in which resources are allocated in the department. I think it's also always good to have the support of the committee on issues that are beyond sometimes our control or reach. So we appreciate that. And I think once again, just thank you very much to the team, as well as to the Minister for his leadership and continued support to the department. We are quite happy that we are getting additional resources, and we really hope this trend will continue, because we do have a lot of catching up to do after, I would say, 7 very lean years. So thank you, Honourable Chair and honourable members, for today's session.
Thank you very much, Dr. McDonald. Minister Lund.
Yeah, I can just concur, Chairperson, and say appreciation firstly to the committee. You help us to advocate for the clients that we serve, and you also hold us accountable for the services we deliver to them. But thank you for your support and oversight. And then to my own team in the ministry, thank you so much for everything that you are doing, trying to shine that extra spotlight on the incredible work the department and the NGOs are doing. And then to Dr. McDonald and the team, it's really an honor working with you. Thank you for what we're doing, and we are ready to tackle the next financial year, Chair. All the best, everyone.
Thank you very much, Minister Lund. And just before I release yourself, the HOD and the SMT, I just need to finally confirm with Ms. Jamke, we do not have any stakeholders or members of the public present that would want to make any submissions.
Yes, Chair, I can confirm no members of the public today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jamke. Then Minister, Dr. McDonald, thank you very much again to the SMT, and I'm sure that we as a committee, we look forward, we're delighted, of course, to the increase in the budget. We are delighted about the allocations that really strengthen the social welfare services, child protection service, and restorative services. We are indeed very happy as well that this increase will help sustain subsidies to NPOs and to designated child protection organizations, and also maintain the GBV shelters in the province, but also expanding basically the child and youth care services, and also enhance crime prevention and substance abuse programs. And we are, as a committee, I'm sure will obviously perform our oversight in terms, but we are very happy with the budget allocation, and all the best with implementation in this regard. Honourable Minister, all the best with the rest of your day. HOD and the senior management officers, where you guys are on the road. We extend our travel mercies to all of you. Thank you very much. You are now officially released, and I will ask honourable members to please remain online to just proceed with our business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Members, are there any resolutions or requests for information or recommendations from the budget presented by the department this morning that we will then include in our minutes? I see the Honourable Walters.
Yes, Chair, I take it we will go to the budget vote and that aspect afterwards. Chair.
Yes, we will. We will first deal with, yeah.
Chair, I just believe there is, and I think Member Comfort touched on an important issue there. If there is a national disaster that has been declared, then I think I would propose a recommendation that the exact scope of that national disaster that's been declared and the funding and supportive processes associated with the declaration of a national disaster should be vigorously fought for or followed up by this department. Chair, if a national disaster is taken seriously, then it could be a huge win for this particular field. And if it's not being taken seriously, then it's worth fighting for. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member Walters. We have your recommendation captured and recorded for the minutes of this meeting, and obviously to further extend through the process. Any other member? Member Kasim, I don't see you online now. Ms. Jamke, could you capture Member Kasim's input or request for further information?
Yes, Chair, I managed to capture a few.
Okay.
Must I read
Okay.
it for the
Yes,
report?
yes, please. Thank you, Ms. Jamke.
Okay, the first one, the department is requested to provide the committee with the following information. One, the most recent statistics on the number of children awaiting placement in secure centers, your center facilities across the province. The second one is the details on the number of additional bed space created in family shelters throughout the province during the financial year under review. The department must provide the committee with a detailed breakdown on the total number of households receiving food parcels due to food insecurity. This must be categorized by geographic areas, metro versus rural areas. The Department of Health and Wellness to provide the Standing Committee on Social Development with the detailed statistics and a comprehensive profile of fathers involved in teenage pregnancies in the province, and the most recent statistics on the prevalence of HIV among teenagers in the province. Those are the few that I've managed to capture, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jamke. I see Member Stevens.
Thank you, Chair. I also would like the department just to expand access to treatment centers and prevention programs. If they can just give us the answer how they gonna help in the departments with the growing substance abuse crisis, and how are they gonna see that the communities have full access to treatment centers and prevention programs, Chair. And then I know with the SOPAs, the Minister Yakulon said in his speech that he's waiting for national for 3 months now for a meeting. If the department can also, or the minister can also give clarity if he did receive an answer from national and when that meeting is going to take place, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Stevens.
Sorry,
Duly
Chair.
captured and recorded. Yes, Namunde.
Sorry, the last one, I think the member must give more details on the minister's waiting because I don't have information on that.
Okay. Member Stevens, can I please ask that you just extend in your position to do it now? Otherwise, I can ask for you to send an email to Ms. Jamke before, let me see the time now. We will still want it today. Say before 12 o'clock.
Oh, I can do it now. Chair.
Okay, please. Okay.
It was
you
with
may.
the minister SOPA speech. The minister was saying that he's now waiting for 3 months for a meeting with national regarding social development. So we also would like to know when is that meeting, because there is also issues that we like to address, especially when it comes to the older persons' money that was taken away from them. More than 500 older persons' money, 500,000 older persons' money was taken away from them last year. So that's why I would like to know whether the minister got a date from national for when that meeting is going to take place. And that was in the minister's SOPA speech. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Stevens. I recognize Member Walters.
Chair, just also proposed request for information. I would like to see the difference between the casework before the introduction of the SWIMS app, the casework covered was successfully concluded, versus the results after the introduction of the SWIMS app. Thanks.
Got it. Thank you, Member Walters. Honorable Member Comfort.
Thank you, Chair. we as the committee will like to inform who is this municipalities to are busy. I think the 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 administrator guide us to say we will try to stabilize more committees in this year. But who is already busy or who is already stabilized? Because what I pick up, there's committees. Drugs committees in different municipalities, but it's not active. That is what I pick up. So, can I provide us with information what area is already established this committee that they can see who can assist is the committee social development. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Comfer, and the reference is to the local drug action committees in municipalities.
Exactly,
Thank you very
Chair. Thank
much. Thank you. Member Van Vogel. Member Van Vogel. It seems like Member Van Vogel has got some connectivity issues. Machamke, can I please ask that you do reach out to the member after concluding this meeting to please provide you with her input by no later than 12 o'clock today. Honorable members, we will then now proceed to the adoption and the consideration of the committee report on Vote 7 Social Development. And all members see on the screen. Honorable members, the committee report, Member Walters.
Chair, I propose support for the budget vote.
Thank you very much. There is a proposal to support Vote 7 Social Development. Do I have a seconder for the proposal? I saw Member Peter Johnson. Thank you very much, Member Johnson. I see Member Comfer.
Thank you, Chair. The ANC component uses Rule 19 in minority vote to not support the budget.
Thank you very much, Member Comfer, and I recognize Member Stevens.
The Patriotic Alliance supports the vote, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Stevens. Honorable members, with reference to the committee report that are screened, the report of the Standing Committee on Social Development on Vote 7, Social Development in the schedule to the Western Cape Appropriation Bill B1 of 2026, dated the 17th of March 2026 as follows. The Standing Committee on Social Development, having considered the subject of Vote 7, Social Development in the schedule to the Western Cape Appropriation Bill B1 2026, refer to it in accordance with Standing Rule 188, reports that it supports the vote. Honorable members, we have already had an indication of support and the minority view expressed. Further on, members, in terms of Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress expressed their minority view to not support the vote. The committee report, I see Member Boyson.
Sorry, Chairperson, I was going to propose, Chairperson, with the amendments because of Rule 90 being included, that we adopt the report with the amendments.
Thank you very much, Member. Member Boyson is just running ahead of me now, but there is then a proposal to adopt the report. Honorable members, are you happy with the content of the report? There's a proposal. Can I have a seconder? I see Member Walters.
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much. Then our Member Stevens.
I second also Chair.
Thank you very much, members. Seconded and third. Honorable members, our committee report are then duly adopted. Ms. Jamke, do we have any other business?
Nothing from my side, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, thank you for your indulgence this morning. Thank you for sound deliberations. Your input are very much appreciated. That then concludes our business for the day. You must have a most blessed week ahead, and we'll see each other in the house. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you,
Thank
Chair.
you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.